If you're a tech leader in the US, this is probably the question that keeps you up at night. Where on earth do you find the top-tier developers you need to build and scale your vision? Seriously, this one decision can make or break your company's future. Okay, let's get into it.
You see, at the end of the day, this is way more than just a hiring choice. It's this high-stakes balancing act, right? You're being pulled in three directions at once. You need incredible quality, you're under pressure to keep costs down and make that runway last, and you absolutely have to be able to scale your team when you need to. If you get that balance wrong, well, it can put everything at risk.
So here's how we're going to break this all down. We'll kick things off with that talent tug-of-war and unpack the real cost of hiring locally. Then, we'll look at the global alternative, put them head-to-head, tackle some of the big doubts you might have, and wrap it up with the key strategic move you need to consider. All right, first things first, let's get real about what it takes to hire developers in the United States. And spoiler alert, it's a much bigger story than just the salary you see on a job offer.
Let's just start with the big, flashy number. In a major US tech hub, a senior software engineer can easily pull in an annual salary somewhere in this ballpark. I mean, think about that. That is a massive investment before a single line of new code has even been shipped.
And here's the kicker. That huge six-figure salary, that's not even the whole price tag. Nope, not by a long shot. Okay, this is where it gets really interesting. This chart shows the total cost of ownership. On top of that base salary, you have to pile on benefits, taxes, office space, recruitment fees, all of it. Our source material says this stuff can add another 25 to 40%. Suddenly, that initial number looks a whole lot bigger, doesn't it? And then you've got the costs that you can't really track on a spreadsheet. The source calls it recruitment friction. You're not just hiring someone, you're jumping into a brutal bidding war. This means hiring cycles drag on forever, you're paying insane agency fees, and salaries just keep creeping up. It's this exhausting, expensive battle just to get one person on your team. So if the local scene is this super expensive, high-friction battleground, what's the plan B? Well, the source material we're looking at proposes a pretty big strategic shift, thinking globally and building what's known as a dedicated team in a major talent hub like India. So what even is a dedicated team? Let's be clear, this is not about farming out a few small tasks. This model is all about the long game. It's about building a genuine extension of your in-house team, people who get to know your code, your business, and your vision inside and out. And why India, you ask? Well, it comes down to one word: scale. The country produces over 1.5 million engineering graduates every single year. That's just a mind-bogglingly huge pool of talent, with expertise in basically any tech stack you could ever need. Okay, so we've got our two models on the table. Now let's really put them side by side. Let's see how they stack up when you look at the cold, hard data from our source. This table just cuts right to the chase, doesn't it? I mean, look at that hourly rate, 80 to over $150 in the US versus 20 to 40 for a developer in India. And all those extra overhead costs we talked about, handled by the partner. The talent pool, you go from being stuck in one city to having the whole world to choose from. It's a game changer. And this chart just drives the point home. The source basically finds that you could be looking at cost savings of 50 to 70%. That is not just a little bit of money. That's capital you can pour back into marketing, into R&D, into getting your product to market faster. It's a huge competitive advantage. So here's the real insight. This isn't just about cost. It's about two totally different ways of thinking. The local contractor is framed as the quick fix, right? It's transactional, it's expensive, and when they leave, all their knowledge walks out the door with them. The dedicated team, though, is positioned as a growth engine, a long-term strategic asset that builds up knowledge and really becomes part of your company's DNA. Now, I know what you're probably thinking. This sounds great, but there are always buts. You've got totally valid concerns about quality, communication, and control. So let's just tackle those head on. This is always the first question, isn't it? And it's the most important one. Is this just another case of you get what you pay for? Well, according to the source material, the answer is a pretty firm no. See, this model only works because it's built on a foundation of quality. We're talking about developers who are seriously vetted, who follow global coding standards, who are always learning the latest in AI and cloud tech, and who know international security rules. Quality isn't sacrificed for cost, it's built right into the process. Okay, fine. So the quality is there. But what about the day-to-day grind? How in the world do you manage a team that's thousands of miles and a bunch of time zones away? The whole system is actually designed to solve exactly these problems. Workflows are set up to make sure you have overlapping hours for real-time chats and daily stand-ups. High-level English is a must-have. And here's the most important part. You keep 100% control. This team works only for you, using your tools, whether it's Jira or Slack or something else, and they follow your roadmap. All right, let's bring this all home. When you strip everything else away, what is the fundamental choice that tech leaders are really facing here?
This quote from the source really says it all, doesn't it? This isn't just about hiring. It's a strategic choice. Are you building a company that relies on temporary patches, or are you building an engine designed for powerful, sustainable, long-term growth?
And that's the bottom line. The whole argument here is that going with a global dedicated team isn't just about saving some cash. It's about what you can do with that capital. It's about speeding up your development, reinvesting in your business, and ultimately building a real, lasting advantage over everyone else in your space. So we'll just leave you with this one final question to think about. As you look at how you're building your team, how you're spending your most valuable resource, your capital, you have to ask yourself, are you just putting a Band-Aid on today's problem, or are you actually building the foundation to win tomorrow?